Welcome to the big breath. You might ask the question, what is the big breath? Well, first of all, I have to explain, in a sense, what is the small breath. For most people, breathing is something that happens automatically. They don't give much attention to it. It happens automatically. And this is a small way of looking at the breath, a sort of least important way of looking at the breath, especially when it's such an important function that if you're not breathing, you're dead. So that is one aspect. The other thing is, even if we look at the breath, we think it's just a matter of breathing in and breathing out. Easy, easy. We don't even have to think about it, make any effort. It's always going to go in and out. Again, that's quite a simplistic view of breathing, and I would consider that a small breath. And the other thing about breathing is we look at what it does in terms of taking in oxygen and breathing out carbon dioxide. Again, we're only studying those two things, breathing in, breathing out, oxygen and carbon dioxide. Again, it's quite a simplistic view. Nevertheless, in science, oxygen, carbon dioxide, essential elements to keep us alive, to keep us functioning, that's acknowledged. In science also, the lung and the chest is not a particular difficult thing to explain, study scientifically, and like a lot of scientific and medical concepts, it's studied usually in isolation. Obviously we know the connection, or we can look into the deep connection with other parts of the body, but it's not a first port of call, whereas we want to see something much bigger. And when we think of small, we think of individual units, we think of specifics and focuses, but we want to think bigger, hence the big breath. And so the theme of this relatively short video is to look at things more as a whole. Traditional health culture in the East, the Indian, the Chinese and many other cultures have a more holistic view of everything. So when you're focusing on one thing, at the same time you're considering the big picture, the sense of wholeness. And let me just take it into the simple thing of the air coming into the body. You know, we're just thinking, okay, oxygen comes in, carbon dioxide comes out, but what is actually in the air that we breathe? It's more than just oxygen and carbon dioxide. There are a lot of other important elements, but there's also something we don't often think about, is the energy in the atmosphere. Two examples. One is ionization. Air particles are charged. They're charged because of the moisture in the air and the very life force that's in the air, if you like. And so anyway, these particles are charged either positive or negative. But the interesting thing, and research has shown this, that negatively charged ions actually are positive on our moods, whereas positively charged ions have a negative effect on our moods. So we're breathing in this form of ionization energy. This is coming into the body, into the lungs. What effect that's going to have? Yeah. So electrically charged, coming into the body, energy. And now we get in, this energy aspect is important. We have energy in the form of electromagnetic waves in the atmosphere. And of course today there's a lot of attention to this because of the use of 5G networks in the telecommunications industry, and research showing that this may in fact be harmful to us. Of course, we've known that electromagnetic energy in excess is harmful to us for quite some time, above a certain level. For instance, back in the 80s, microwave ovens, when they came in, got bad press because they saw microwaves as being harmful to our health. We've got used to it in a sense. Now we're talking about other things. It's almost like living in a microwave. So this is influence in the atmosphere. It's coming into our body in various ways, but particularly it can come in obviously through breathing. So these are aspects of energy. Now, the whole topic of energy in scientific or medical terms is quite different to the holistic approach, the traditional approach. Energy in science, in physiology and neurology and all of the sciences is very specific processes that we're looking at chemically and nervously and all sorts of things of that nature. And it is quite complicated area. So for the average person to try to understand energy, actually I found it's quite difficult. So I was attracted to the Chinese system particularly because they have just one word for energy. Traditionally, in traditional medicine and Qigong and Tai Chi martial arts, they just call energy Qi. Now, there is basically one energy. We just divide it up into many different things, but they're all interconnected, you know. And we want to be kind of aware that this aspect of Qi really affects us as a whole. And I just want to go through some of the aspects of what we mean by Qi, so you can see how this approach actually makes a lot of sense into how we look at our body and our health. So if we assume that Qi covers all types of energy, material, immaterial, substantial, insubstantial, finite, infinite, you know, everything from radiation to our physical bodies and makeup, to our nerves, to the energy that moves through our body, that causes movement, all sorts of things. And we just put one thing and say, well, that's Qi. Yeah. Now, if in the Chinese system, they would see that as a human being, we're the result, you know, we're formed by the heavenly Qi. Now this represents either the cosmic energy, you know, cosmic energy or divine energy, but there's some level of energy that we can't see that's actually affecting this planet. It's coming into. And in a human term, this energy, heavenly Qi shall we say, is going to meet up with the earth Qi underneath us. The planet itself is an energetic form. So when the two meet, it's like a fusion, like a nuclear fusion. And so we say when somebody is conceived, and this is explained even in the monotheistic religions, in the Bible, in the Quran and so on, say that we are made of earth, of clay, and the cosmic, the divine breath brought life into that and produced the human form, and of course other creatures and living forms as well, but the human form is unique in itself, because when this cosmic Qi, this heavenly Qi, divine Qi, creates with the earth, it creates this kind of power cell within us. Again, we can't see this, but it's like a nuclear fusion, a power cell within the body that is there. And it has a lifespan, like any power source, like a battery. For instance, it has a lifespan. But the difference with a battery, in the sense of, say, a car battery, is that it will deplete quite quickly, and it has a short lifespan. And of course, we have a much longer lifespan normally. And the car battery, it is able to regenerate its energy so it can last longer, and it does that by moving. The car moving generates electricity into the battery, and it stores it. And as long as it keeps regenerating and moving, the battery will last longer, but ultimately it will need to be replaced. In the human system, it's not that we're not only regenerating, we're also renewing, restoring our body all the time, and it's growing. It's a different, totally, this system is self-organizing, self-developing. So this is a different. Now, we obviously have to add to that system. For instance, if you were born and you had this power pack within you, which is your life, as it were, your battery is going to last you a lifetime. You know, if for instance, we didn't eat any food, if we didn't breathe, that power source would quickly dwindle, just the same as a battery. So in the human sense, in the life form that we've created with this energy, we have to eat and we have to breathe. Now that then supplements, in other words, it's like giving life to life, and that then will. But nevertheless, there is still a presence within us, another kind of energy, is particularly relevant to us as humans in terms of the spiritual heart. The Chinese call it Shun. And that presence we often call the heart, and it's that presence that we can't see, we can't feel, we can't really explain. But it's associated with the heart. I think because, in a sense, the heart has a pacemaker. The pacemaker doesn't get its energy, its nervous from anywhere. It's just there. It's self-renewing. It keeps going. So in a sense, we have this presence. So I'd say this heaven energy, part of it is still within us. We call it the Shun. That's the guiding light, or like the pilot light that you would have in a boiler. If that goes out, then the whole system will shut down. So that Shun Qi, as it's called, is very important, and it's in this upper area located somewhere here. So we've got this light, the Shun presence, and we've got what the Chinese call Qing Qi, which is this thing we're born with. We inherited partly from our parents and from this formation and this fusion, this storage capacity of energy within us. And that needs to be renewed with what we eat and our breathing and so on. So from that, so we've got the two ends, as it were, one and two, the presence and the storage and the life force that we're given. And then this combination and this life within us, expanding within us and contracting within us, it's very important that as we see that, let me give you an example of like a car. A car has petrol. It's like the essence of the machine. You put the petrol in, but the petrol itself can't do anything. What happens is, in the end, the petrol vaporizes. The vapor goes towards the carburetor, air comes into it, and the air and the combustion that takes place drives the car. Yeah, so in a sense, this transformation of petrol into vapor mixing with the air creates this combustion, this transformation of energy that moves the car. Right? So see that in a very simplified view in the body. Our essence, that power pack, is in itself transformed by the Shun presence, and what comes off is this vital Qi. The vital Qi, the most important aspect of Qi, if you like, that communicates everything within. It's like a thread of energy through a whole being. But this vital Qi is the driving force from the essence and guided by the Shun. And it has a particular role to play in movement. But that, in the Chinese call it Yuan Qi. And this actually then is taking the food Qi, if you like, the transformation of food is going to produce energy, another form of Qi. That then moves with this vital Qi that's moving in your body all the time, the vital Qi which creates movement in the body but also into the deep cells of the body, moves to your chest. And this is the important thing. It moves to the chest and it gathers in this area using the air. So we're breathing the air and all the energy associated with the air, including the oxygen. And that's coming in and gathering in the chest. And therefore, this is a central part of the control of energy in the lung for all these energies coming together. And therefore, we see that this will affect the health of the heart, the lungs, the chest. Any deficiency in this area will also affect your voice, your speech, your hands can be cold. All sorts of things can happen in relation to that. So that energy, that this pure, almost purification of the Qis is in this area. Yeah? And the Wan Qi is controlled by the lungs, which is another important factor. Yeah. And this qi then is being transformed and moved into other parts of the body. It's going down into the organs and forming the nutritive qi. The qi, the refined qi that has to feed the organs and develop the organs and grow the organs and all the rest of it, the changes that happen there. Some of that qi is also directed to the skin and the muscles to moisten and energize the outer boundaries of the qi, of the body. And so the lungs are connected to the skin and to the muscles. You know, all these things are connected here, through into the internal organs. And the significance of the qi moving to around the surfaces of vessels and the skin and the muscles is its protective qi. The Chinese call wei qi. Now this is a really important link to the lungs, the chest, the breathing, the energy. If you're a fan of Star Trek, you know that the ships are going out and the enemies are coming, and they put up this protective screen. You know, protective screen, so the enemy with the fight bounces off the screen. So it's like a protective defense mechanism, this energy. And if you can imagine like a sheen all around the body, I suppose in yoga you'd call it an aura, but this is connected to the actual skin and into the muscles of the body. It's the first line of defense. And this qi is responsible for opening and closing the pores, creating this idea of a defense mechanism to stop the unwanted things coming in. What they call it, the pathogens and the illnesses coming in from the exterior. Now, of course, it can't just be a protection because things need to come in. We need to receive things to get into the body. The skin, you say, that is like a breathing organ in itself. So we have to have this movement across this protection. Of course, that's where the danger is, in a sense. If we have a weakness in the defense system, things we don't want to come in do come in. And so obviously at the moment, you know, we're thinking of viruses and all sorts of things coming into the body. And if that protection shield is dropped, woof, you know, and so we're going to get it full force. And what happens is the skin can go dry, there's no sweating, you know, you can tell when that is dropping off. And when you do get a pathogen and it's attracted to the body, the pores are not functioning properly, so there's not this interchange, this opening and closing of the defense shield to give a healthy internal function. The pathogens will stop that. And quite often what happens at a therapeutic level, to overcome that, we're encouraged, if we feel the onset of these symptoms, we have a sweat. We used to do it in the sauna or steam bath, or you put a lot of clothes on and you sweat. That strengthens the wei qi as it happens. And then you find the cold just doesn't come, the flu just doesn't come. I mean, these are age-old remedies. And modern medicine doesn't see this, it doesn't talk about it. You know, it doesn't explain how this can be beneficial. But you see, it's all coming back. All this originates from the wan qi coming and gathering the energy with the food, energy, transferring it through into this idea of the lungs. It's related to immunity, but in Chinese medicine, don't talk about immunity, it just talks about other concepts that I'm mentioning here. So all this, so you can see that breathing is a big thing. That's why, like in Qigong, is breathing work, sometimes we put it. But breathing is an oversimplification of what's actually going on in terms of energy, and as I've been explaining. So, could go on for a long time talking about this, but let's get back to the actual practical aspect of breathing. I just want to initially show you one or two little breathing tips which can be extended upon and developed over time. Now, I'm sitting in a fairly upright position. You see, my back is not supported, but I'm relaxed. You see with many people the shoulders and the muscles around the shoulders, the chest, the diaphragm are far too tight. So actually we do really need to spend a whole session on learning to relax the body before we go into too many techniques. But today I just wanted to show a little bit about the dynamics of breathing, which will help you relax, but at the same time give you something to practice from what I've been talking about. So I'm sitting in this position, and what we're looking at here, again, on a small breathing, you only focus on the chest. You know, we say, oh, yeah, we're just breathing in the chest, you know, so we just focus on the chest. Yeah. Some people, with relaxation, will say, oh, all relaxation should come from relaxing the belly, and then you can relax. That is also true, but they're only part one, upper and lower, of two, the whole. So we've got to integrate being able to relax into the abdomen, being able to reduce tension in the chest, and then see how these two can work together. And this is a simple thing to do without any great effort. When I breathe out and I feel like I'm pressing a little bit here, the muscles tighten a little bit, and I just come forward slightly. And you feel that as if it's just sinking a bit, and I'm pressing, you might be able to see there, and then I come back. But coming back is not just the out. As I come back, I breathe in and lift without moving my head. I extend up the front and it comes into the chest. So breathing out, breathing in. And you notice I'm not collapsing the body. I seem like I'm pivoting forward through the hips. So, and the second point is the solar plexus. So when I breathe out, the focus is in the lower side. When I breathe in, it comes up through the middle, through the solar plexus, into the chest. So you see, out. Now you always breathe in through the nose to refine the air. Again, it's part of your defense mechanism, is to stop things, filter things out in your nose. Stop it getting into your throat and into your lungs. So that it's important to breathe out through, you breathe out through the mouth, that's okay. Carbon dioxide out, blow out, breathe in. Now I'm not trying to lift my body, I'm not lifting my shoulder, I'm just focusing on this rocking movement and feeling the difference between through the solar plexus to the bottom and through the solar plexus to the top. Imagine a seesaw. See, weight, one side, coming up, the other side, out, in. Now, when people are breathing, we often count the breath, and you find the average breath should be around 12 breaths a minute. Some people breathe slower, some people breathe much faster. For us today, we can try and get to around 10 to 12 breaths in a minute. So if I breathe in for 3 counts, breathe out for 3 counts, that's 6. In one breath cycle, in and out, 6. So in a minute, that will be 12. So that's going to get us in a kind of normal average breathing first. And that's the thing. So I just breathe out, 2, 3, in, 2, 3, out, 2. Now you can close your eyes if you want, because you've really got this physical movement, this physical feeling, chest and abdomen, this timing of the breath. So there's a lot going on, and in itself it can be quite relaxing. Plus the fact, because you're moving, your back is not getting stiff. So it's not a big movement. 3 and out, 2, 3. Shoulders are easy, see, arms are easy resting. Now as you get better at it, you move less. So you move less, but still breathing, and be conscious. Bring your mind now, less movement, less physical, more mind, attention into the body. Until you can get to the point where you're completely still, the body is still, but the mind now is moving with the breath. Remember, the breath is like a thread of energy moving through the yuan qi, as it were, the energy, the vital energy you imagine is starting to move freely through the body in these areas. And so you can just be there nice and easy, and you've got 1, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. So we can build this up. And you can play some nice music at home, and it makes it even more relaxing. So you should do that for 10 minutes. Now, once we can get to that point where we've got this breathing out, you will notice as you breathe out, you'll still feel this little bit of firmness contracting, and you'll feel it release, and you'll come up, and you'll feel up the front into the chest, nice and easy, the same pattern, but you're still, yeah. Now, some people panic at the moment, they find it difficult to breathe out. You know, when they breathe in, then it kind of catches, and it's difficult to let go. And when they breathe out, they find they can't breathe out too easily before they wanted to breathe in. But we need to keep this balance. Yeah, simple balance. But keeping still. So they've got relaxation, breathing. It seems to be going on through the whole of the body, and the energy is already flowing good. The chi is flowing well. So the next step is to learn to breathe out more. This is just the next step to follow. Now, if you breathe in for 3 counts, I want you to breathe out, yeah, for 9 counts. Now, that should be okay, but for some, if it's too difficult, then just start with 6, 2 times. We want to get to 3 times breath out that you breathe in. So 3 in, 9 out. Eventually, that's the starting. If you can do 6, do 6, but build up to 9. And as you breathe out and out and out, what you should notice is your concentration and a little bit of effort, you feel a tightness coming into the lower abdomen. Now that's important. You feel as if you're pulling your tummy in at the waist. You feel like your belt is tightening here. The reason being that when you want to change, you release that, and then you feel the sense of movement coming up. Your breathing needs to fill up from the bottom upwards. It's like filling a glass. It goes to the bottom, it comes up. Right? You don't want to start your breathing up here. Very important. So you breathe out as if you've emptied and sucked all the air out. And then when you let go, the chest itself works on the basis of a vacuum around the lungs. When you breathe out in the chest, you breathe out and the lung sacs decrease, contract, and create a negative pressure in the rest of the chest around the lungs. It's that negative pressure when it gets to its final point of out in the chest that when you open your nose, you let the air come in, it's automatically sucked in. So actually breathing in is a passive thing, in essence, right? So now we're taking that a bit further. So you breathe out, you make that contraction. It's in the chest, but you make the contraction down here. Now this affects your diaphragm, so that your diaphragm is being maneuvered as well. So the diaphragm will be able to move better, and that will extend and fill up your breathing from the bottom of your chest. Most people only breathe in a very shallow, small part again, rather than a big breath. It's a small breath. So out, yeah. So let's count. In, 2, 3. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In, 2, 3. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In, 1, 2, 3. Now you can find, because it's a bit longer breathing out, that suddenly you go, right? So if that's happening, first of all, cut it down to 6. The other thing to do is try and pause. So when you get to the end of your breath out, pause. Some people swallow, so I can breathe out and then I go swallow, feel the Adam's apple moving, and then let the breath come in through the nose. That can help you and stops you that suddenly over breathing coming in. Yeah. So breathing in, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In, 2, 3, 4. Right? So we can start, you'll feel like you want to breathe in more. So the key to breathing in deeper is to breathe out. And people don't teach you this. It's not about breathing in at all. Later, we can do some breathing in techniques, but that's not the basis. The basic is breathing out, and then you're breathing in like this vacuum just expands. Contraction, expansion through your body with your concentration. Notice my attention in a sense would go from up here, come right down to here, and then it would come back up again. And this practice is also encouraging then the essence, the Qing Qi, the revitalizing the Wan Qi, coming up to the chest where it needs to do its work, with all the vitality moving then through in the arms and the hands and the throat and the voice and the heart into the skin, and you're creating this already in your mind, this protective feeling, an internal vitality feeling. So this is the basic practice. And if you can then get to 4 in, you're progressing then to 12 out, to 5 in and 15 out. You can go as far as you want. Yeah. Quite often I can be lying down, as it happens sometimes, and at night, and it'll help me to sleep. I can go to the point where I only breathe in twice in 1 minute. Right? Twice in 1 minute. And before you know where you are, then you go into sort of nice, easy breathing. You always come back at the end to easy breathing, to the point, right at the end of your practice, you sit and you make no effort to breathe, you keep still, and you hardly know you're breathing. The Chinese call this kind of prenatal breathing. You know, it's as if you're in the womb, and you can't discern the breathing. You don't know. It's just a feeling. This is an advanced part of the breathing method. But at least when you finish, you just sit quietly, and your mind is just visualizing this constant circulation, this constant movement of air, of energy, of qi, and this goodness and this beautiful feeling spreading through even into your throat, into your head, soothing your brain. It's this part of the Wan Qi, the vital Qi, into your organs to keep them healthy, into your skin and your muscles and everything. It's just like bathing in this. And you sit and you close your eyes and you just let that be. And it kind of just, it's all inside you, it's around you, but your mind is just calm and easy. So this is just a little introduction. You can practice some of those things. If you want to learn more, then I'm planning to do some tutorials online. You can contact me regarding that if you like. You can email me at mali.cashmore@gmail.com. That's Mali, M-A-L-I. You can get me through my website, movementforlife.co.uk. And we can talk about it further and explain what I'm going to do. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope it's been useful and you can practice a little bit what I've told you.